Jasmine Jasnovizius here. Don't forget to tap into the Darce podcast.
The Darce choke is a submission executed from the front headlock position. It involves encircling the opponent's neck with the crook of one's arm, while the other arm wraps around the opponent's arm, applying pressure, leading to a tap or unconsciousness.
Tap into the Darce podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and bienvenidos a UFC Mexico. Viva la Mexico. We got a great fight night ahead and an awesome card. I'm with my guy, Slick Montana. Cal on the ones and twos. I guess now on the threes and fours here live, breaking it down for us, covering in for Mr. Plus, who's on vacation. But hey, he's still coming through with plays on the show. And great to be here with you guys for this card. Coming off a UFC London card that was just straight up funky, y'all. Very, very erratic judging, just all over the place. And I mean, I'm really, really pissed off about the Brasco breakdown with Nathan Fletcher losing. I thought he clearly won round 3 with that damage at the end that would sell the fight. But no, a lot of weird decisions. Slick, like Jai Herbert, Marcin Tybura winning over Parkin. Cal, I even thought Jan Blachowicz might have edged it out over Carlos Ulberg. Unanimous? I thought that was a little suspect too. Nonetheless, Slick, let me get some of your reactions from the weird judging from UFC London. Charrier not showing up either. I mean, just a weird card.
Yeah, it was just one of those cards at the end of the day. You know, one of those cards that you just be like, what the fuck? We always have that type of card here and there. And London has always been up and down lately. Like the past 2-3 cards from London, a lot of the fights going to decision, going to the judges and stuff like that. So, but a lot of those fights, like the thing about a lot of those fights is that they were just so boring that, like, even a robbery, you could say that. But outside of the Nathan Fletcher fight, you know, that was a little bit like Jai Herbert fight was boring. Jan Blachowicz was a little bit underwhelming. Like, it was just a lot of, like, Mick Parkin versus Tybura outside of that second round spurt was boring. So it was just a lot of boring fights. Like, I'm just happy we in Mexico City with a lot of fun Mexicans.
Bro, talk about boring. I got my Fighting Nerds shirt in the mail. These are the types of guys we want to see in action. Cal in the mix, rocking Vancouver Grizzlies. Hey, I respect that too. Cal, good to be with you this week, man. What do you thought about, give me some of your reactions to UFC London. Weird card.
Yeah, I had a feeling it would be a lot of fights going over. We touched a lot of time props. The Loughran fight, we hit the over on that. Fight goes the distance as well too. I tripled down on that one. Billy found himself to Loughran. I saw that fight could have gone either way. I didn't really have too much of an investment on it. I sprinkled a bit on the decision from Loughran, but honestly, man, I don't think what he does in the cage isn't really advantageous to how the judges should be looking at things. They should be looking at what Fletcher was doing, trying to finish the fight. So I was good either way. Jai Herbert, that he won that fight, and that was one that I was on. That one was to go to decision. That one was a decision. I had Jai Herbert, and that was sort of bullshit. But all in all, we did pretty solid on the card. The only one, and I'll say it, hats off to Philly, man. Hats off to our boy Slick. I mean, we got to look at it. You got to give Leon Edwards his flowers initially until somebody else shows me otherwise, right? And Brady had to show me he could enter well, and he was so tricky with his takedowns. Like you could even see he was entering one way and then just changing off the angle and just switching things up on Leon, and Leon didn't really know what to do. And a lot of people are saying that he copied, Bilal Muhammad's book, and I don't think he did exactly. It was a little bit different. And he did a great job, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in his next fight. So, yeah, all in all, did decent, but let's go into this week.
And Cal bringing up some of the plays. He's over on the Don't Tap podcast, too, so producing the Darce here, but also giving out his own plays, some of which he's referencing. And, yeah, great to bring up the main event, too. Got to tip your cap to Sean Brady, who just overwhelmed Leon, who looks to be cooked. I know Slick's hyped about that. He cashed a Brady 3-4-5 sub prop, right? So, nice work there. And Scott's in the comments. Good to see you, Scott, here. Brady got to make Bilal look like a rag doll. The rematch is coming, right? And Bilal knocked him out, so we'll see what happens when they face off again. He's got to get that next shot after Bilal defends his title next. So excited for that. All right, guys, on to UFC Mexico we move. And, man, we got a spicy card, muy caliente. A lot of Mexican fighters. Not going to lie, guys, I'm a little bit concerned after an international card, like what the judging is going to be like on these ones. But nonetheless, onward we venture. And we're going to start it off by getting on the bus. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not here, but nonetheless, all aboard the Mr. Plus Parlay Bus.
Mr. Plus, Parlay Bus, bet it all in trust. Jabs and hooks, it's all about the rush. Put it down on the underdog, never hush. Odds stack high, feel the thrill, that's a must. And I'll see you when that shit cashes.
And we got a call into the show. Is he Mr. Plus? I think we can hear you.
This week's Plus Bus, we're taking 3 Mexicans that are absolutely going to get the job done. For leg number 1, give me Lupe Godinez. She is just absolutely better everywhere and going to get us the bag. It's no question. She fights at altitude, and she's going to easily get us this fucking win. For leg number 2, give me Edgar Chairez, my most confident pick of the card, fighting CJ Vergara, an absolute can, if you ask me. And Edgar Chairez just doesn't fuck around when it comes to fighting on the feet, and CJ Vergara is going to give him that. So give me Edgar Chairez all fucking day. For the last leg, give me the young Raul Rosas Jr. He doesn't lose on Mexican Day. I'll see y'all motherfuckers when this shit cashes.
Wow. Amazing. So on vacation, but nonetheless calling into the show with the Plus Bus. He closed.
Plus looks a little bit different. Plus looks a little bit different. And he was a little bit repetitive with his movements. It was a little odd. But anyway.
Vacation Plus, he's a little different. But, man, he closing it out with Raul Rosas doesn't lose on Mexican Day. I think he meant UFC Fight Night Mexico, but nonetheless, that's amazing. Slick, Cal, let's break his legs down. It's plus 130 when you put them together. He started with Lupe Godinez, and honestly, that's the leg that scares me the most out of the 3 of his, because I just feel like when she's been the betting favorite several times, she's kind of laid an egg. She can get herself into really close fights. I know she's very talented, but she's disposed of lesser competition, and she's found herself in competitive fights with higher level comp. Now, Julia Pilastri might be in the former category, I guess, but I'm kind of high on Pilastri. She's physical. She's pretty good in the clinch. She has solid takedown defense. And I actually like her Muay Thai kind of style on the feet too. So I think this fight actually plays out closer than the odds suggest. She's plus 195 right now. I'm worried about Lupe here. Cal, I'll let you lead off because I know you know a lot about Lupe. Do you think she should be trusted in this spot as a favorite?
Yeah, I'm a little biased. I'm going to start with that. Lupe being the honorary Canadian growing up in Canada, but obviously, representing Mexico as well too. The wrestling's so strong, but yeah, you're right. Sometimes she falls in love with the striking, and what she ends up doing is she gets stuck in her boxing. And against Pilastri, I don't know if that's a good recipe. I will preface this also with that round 1 play for my podcast is Lupe Godinez. So she's my number 1 play of the week. I just think that at this point, I can't imagine she's gone through multiple times where she should take the fight to the ground and she doesn't. And her camp and now moving out to, she's been training with some of the top fighters outside of Canada as well now too. And she's learning, she's got to be learning, at least different strategies or different, stamp. Basically the mental aspect, as I'm fumbling through, they have to address that. And she has to take this down. Lupe Godinez averages roughly 3.8 takedowns a fight. Pilastri's there to be taken down. She has about 61% takedown defense, but honestly doesn't defend takedowns that well. She does have the reach advantage and the striking advantage. So I think that this just has to get to the ground, and I think that Lupe is the spot. Apologies for the fumble.
No, you're good, man. So honestly, yeah, that's what's going to come down to is if Pilastri can defend the takedowns, I think, and then make it kind of a closer fight on the feet. Slick, how do you see this fight playing out? I feel like Pilastri will be solid in the clinch. Do you think Lupe can just put her on the floor?
We just don't know what Lupe is going to do nowadays. And honestly, I'm just tired of betting her and thinking she's actually going to do what she's supposed to do. Like, this is a girl that actually went into that Mackenzie Dern fight with a striking advantage. If she gets outstruck by Mackenzie Dern, like, the volume was all over on Dern. And the only concern was that fight was Lupe was just trying to land that big overhand right or big shot that could hurt Dern. And it just wasn't there, And against a lot of other girls, she was able to just, have the better takedown defense, like against Tabitha Ricci and girls like that. and she was able to dictate the pace. Now she's gonna get a more violent, more physical, like you said, Julia Palastri. I'm just done betting on Lupi, thinking that she's gonna do something. She comes in here, she got the wrestling, she's gonna be able to take advantage. Has a great half guard game. I just think that like I said, I'm just tired of trying to think that she's gonna do something and she just doesn't, you know. So maybe if she comes in here, she has a heavy wrestling game plan. Maybe if I see her in an interview leading up to the fight that she's coming in here with a heavy wrestling game plan, then maybe I'll bet her. But until then, I'm just staying away from this fight. Dog or pass for me.
That's exactly how I feel. Dog or pass, ultimately. Cal, one follow-up.
One quick thing. I think the path to victory for her, she's got to even sell the wrestling. If she even sells the wrestling, she can actually land on the feet, and her stand-up gets much, much better that way because everybody's worried about the takedown. So she just got to at least commit to some version of the wrestling in order to make this a better chance for her. But for me, I just think that this is going to be a spot. I think she's going to ragdoll her. But we'll leave it there.
There you go. All right. Slightly split on the pick. I kind of like a little half-unit shot on Palastri. I hate to be against the bus. Hate to be against Cal. Slick thinking dog or pass. I'm feeling the same. We're split on the pod, but I like the good debate there. All right, second leg is Edgar Chairez, and I think I really got to like this leg for sure against CJ Vergara. Vergara plus calling on Fade Alert. He says he's a guy that is not up to par. And while he has shown some toughness, he's only beaten guys that are kind of lower level, right? I mean, Chairez is pretty tough to trade with in the pocket. He's slick on the ground. He comes in with the ammo over his shoulder. I mean, he's so intimidating. And he fights with a scrappy, gritty style. So if this becomes a nasty fight, Slick, I don't think Vergara can hang with him. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we've seen Vergara get into a firefight with Daniel Da Silva, and he was almost running outside the cage, running in circles in that fight. And I just don't think he's ready for war. And with Edgar Chairez on UFC Mexico, like Edgar Chairez against Van was hurt damn near to the body every round, and he just fucking weathered the storm and hurt Van with that spinning elbow that almost turned the tides. Like the way he's just able to flip tides, and a lot of his fights are crazy. Like the way he's able to catch you in a deep ass guillotine, and if you're betting against him, the way your heart beats a second, because this is a guy that if he gets you in any type of submission, man, he's gonna put you to sleep, or you might tap. So. I'm done. I've been fading CJ Vergara his last couple fights against Asu and against Temirov. I remember I had Temirov by KO in like first round at plus 300 regular KO. So I'm going to take Edgar Chairez here. Good parlay piece, and I'm going to take him to finish CJ Vergara.
I love it, man. I think you can get him out of there with a guillotine or choke, something like that. He's got the slick choke holds. Cal, what do you think about Edgar Chairez? He's showing up from Mexico?
Yeah, he's the kind of guy I like, at least closer to a pick 'em or a dog money. But I mean, yeah, I just think this matchup, he's just going to drag him into hell. That's what he does with fighters, or fighters try to drag him into hell, and he surprises them because he's got that gas tank. He's got that will. He'll take your best shot, and he'll keep coming, man. And he has a decent, well-rounded set. He's got some decent stand-up. He puts it together well. Like, I think why he has such good successes, his transitions between his striking to his grappling. He's able to get in there on the cage, and he does a lot of small things well, and a lot of people don't give him credit for it. So I think the line is a little bit too wide, but it is a little bit of a fade of Vergara too, I think, who's on his way out the door. This isn't a case of a guy who's going to fight for, his contract, and are we worried about that? I think he's going to get outmatched in this one, and I think that it's a Chairez fight.
I like the way you put it too. Not just a wild brawler who lands crazy stuff. He's good at the small things too. He's good at the technical stuff, even though he comes with a wild, game. It looks like, aesthetically at least. Good to see Jewish Better in the comments. Good to see you, Scott and Amanda, as well. Fire away with any questions, comments you have about this card. We want to know what your plays are. We want to know what you guys are looking at on this card, and we'll bring them up on the show here. Good to see you guys. So we're liking Chairez second leg of the plus bus. Last leg to bring it home, guys. Let's wrap this thing up. Is Raul Rosas Jr. And tough to be against Rosas right now. Looks to be improving his game. Came into the UFC at 18 years old. He's already got 5 fights under his belt. It's pretty impressive. And only took that loss to Christian Rodriguez, which is just a little too much too soon. Gassed out, did a little, couldn't really hang in a 3-rounder and a back and forth scrambling affair. But, man, he looks good. And I think he gets the job done in this spot as well. I know he's taken on a veteran in Vince Morales, but who can grapple himself. He's got unorthodox subs on his record, like the Peruvian necktie and, some slick stuff himself. But honestly, Slick, I don't think he can hang with Rosas ultimately. I think Rosas will just be stronger, quicker to the next position and just beat him up. So Maybe he wins a decision. Maybe gets him out of there with a sub. But you think Morales has a chance to compete with Rosas here?
No, and I'm honestly a little bit concerned of Morales. Like the war that he just had with Elijah Smith, like what was it, a couple months ago, was like just one of those fights that I never thought that he would come this early. Like, and it's honestly a little bit of a concern because maybe like the he that was like, you know, his coming back from the getting cut fight with Elijah Smith, and then me personally, I really think that the UFC probably offered them like, look, man, if you don't fight Raul Rosas Jr., you know, we might cut you, or, you know, if you fight Raul Rosas Jr., maybe we re-sign you or something. And I just think he's here for a paycheck. Raul Rosas Jr. probably gets him down within the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes of each round. And it's just probably Vince Morales surviving, you know, ducking rear nakeds for like 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes of each round. So Raul Rosas Jr. probably gets in a little bit of trouble in each round, but then next thing you know, we'll be like, oh my God, he's moved to side control, and then next thing you know, he's on his back, and then there goes the fight, you know. So like I said, too soon for Morales, too much momentum for Raul Rosas Jr. Giving Raul Rosas Jr. by sell.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. Is just like Morales with him on his back, just fighting off the rear naked choke for like 3 minutes in the center of the ring, right? Like just in trouble. And Slick brings up a good point. Morales in his second stint with the UFC, and it looks like if he couldn't submit Smith in a good fight, where I took Morales, couldn't get him out of there. I don't think he could submit Rosas then. So how do you see this fight?
Yeah, Slick brings up a great point. I think Morales may have moments in each round, but I think that when Rosas gets to it, he's going to get to that backpack or get to a dominant position. And then when he does, he's either attacking a submission, he's advancing position. So he's not just like laying on top of you with control time, and or he's landing elbows. He's pretty violent in there. So it's a 15-year age gap. It's like a 14 to 15-year age gap, depending on month to month, whatever. But that's a pretty big age gap. And for Morales, it's his second snap here. And, you know, he's 35 years old, but he's really 45 years old in cage years. This is a case of one on the way out, one on the way in. Yeah, man, I could see Rosas. I think it's probably going to be a decision because we'll give Morales a little bit more respect. Sort of exactly. Slick's breakdown is perfect. I didn't really need to speak. I just think Morales will have moments, but ultimately we'll know who the winner is at the end.
There you have it. We all like Raul Rosas Jr., Edgar Chairez, and plus adding Lupi Godinez for the plus bus at plus 130. Calling in from vacation. Gotta love it. And going over some of those picks. There you go, guys. All right. Well, next up, it's time to put your hands together, guys. This is time for the Brasco breakdown.
Brasco's breakdown. Brasco's breakdown.
And Jewish Better says no audio. That might be a you thing, bro, because we're loud and clear, baby. And I'm breaking down a 2-leg parlay this week, getting back at them after robbing me with Nathan Fletcher. Just unbelievable. I'm so furious about that. So I'm going with something that feels safe. 2 fighters. First up, Jamal Emmers, a guy that, man, if not for a few key mistakes, he could be a ranked featherweight. I mean, he almost knocked out Pat Sabatini before he fell into a heel hook. And he almost put away Nate Landwehr, the scrappy, rugged fighter, before he just got put away in a wild exchange. But Emmers is a good, rangy boxer. He's got a nice front kick up the middle that he uses to establish the range. And at that range, he's tough to deal with, man. He's fought some really good competition. He had a split decision back in the day with Giga Chikadze, so he's got good experience. And I think that if Gabriel Miranda can't get him to the floor, he's going to be a fish out of water on the feet. Like I said, Miranda, pretty savvy jiu-jitsu player, a guy that has 16 out of his 17 pro wins, all coming by submission. But Emmer's only been submitted twice in his pro career, 28 fights. Miranda is just a guy that has not fought high-level competition, and he's been exposed. Morgan Charrier cracked him with a left hook in his last fight. And I think Emmers is likely to just starch him with a right hand down the middle. So give me Jamal Emmers. Give me Emmers by knockout. And that'll be the first leg of the parlay. I'm pairing him up with Joe Body Bags Pfeiffer with Philly on the map. Sean Brady did it last week. Pfeiffer's doing it this week. I'm all aboard that train. And, man, he's taking on Kelvin Gastelum, who's a guy that used to be a really good middleweight, veteran of the division, has fought a ton of great competition. But at this point, I think he's on the back nine of his career. He seems to be declining. The speed is going down a little. The athleticism is going down. And although he's coming off a win against Daniel Rodriguez, he just weight bullied him, man. They were forced to fight at like a different weight. And Gastelum has missed weight on multiple occasions as of late. He's got that cooking show. Everyone makes fun of him whenever he misses weight or looks like out of shape. They're like, Kelvin, you're just been at the food truck, bro. That's bullshit. At this point, I think a guy like Pyfer, physical, beast striker, that right hand, left hook, that forward pressure, and that physical grappling, Henzo Gracie Philly, man, Gastelum's in trouble, I think. I think he could put him away. Pyfer's next up. Like you guys said about another fight earlier, one guy's on the decline, one guy's on the rise. It's that simple. So pair them together. I got minus 137 now, and I think that's solid value for the two-legger. All right, y'all. I think both of the guys get it done inside the distance, which is why I like pairing both of them, because they're going to show up for their big price tag that they have on the money line. Slick, what do you think I'm onto it with? Emmers, Pyfer? Well, go with Emmers first. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about betting Emmers earlier in the week. I seen his line like minus 220, and then the next day his line all of a sudden went right to like minus 310. So I definitely missed the boat on that. I just think that this fight is going to be majority played on the feet. You know, Miranda isn't that great of a wrestler. He's more of a, like, take your back, stand in, you know, opportunistic type of guy. And I just don't think Jamal Emmers is going to give him that opportunity. I think Jamal Emmers is going to piece him up on the feet, just like a little bit of what Morgan Charrier did his last fight. It got away from any type of engagement in the grappling and just kept the fight on the feet. Jamal Emmers is going to piece him up and get the easy KO.
Yeah, I think 1-2 down the middle. Sleep. Cal, what do you think about Emmers?
Yeah, I won't dig in too much because I got to save it for my producer play of the week. Jamal Emmers is somebody for me who, when I first started my podcast, he was my first breakdown. It was Jamal Emmers against Pat Sabatini. And that fight IQ is something I've faded up until today. So one of my biggest plays is we'll give you the prop later, but Jamal Emmers, there's a reason the line moved. If you look at all these stats and how these guys match up, and even how Slick was saying, Miranda's takedowns aren't really wrestling takedowns. They're either opportunistic jiu-jitsu takedowns and or backpacks. Man, it's a one-sided walloping. He's going out. And I'll tell you when, and I'll dig into the prop later on, but Emmers all day long.
I remember when Miranda debuted in the UFC, I was researching him on Tapology, and one of his fights has like the exclamation point, like, warning, this fight is like not legitimate and like cannot be and when you see things like that on guys' records, sketchy. You know that they've been in some weird promotions and some weird competition that maybe they're not all their hype is cracked up to be, right? So yeah, definitely a fade of Miranda and backing Emmers, despite some mistakes he's made in the past. And yeah, Pyfer, Slick, Philly, stand up. I mean, do you think he just starches Gastelum in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Gastelum is that he's a human punching bag. Like, the guy doesn't move his face for nothing. Like, he was making Daniel Rodriguez, like, a guy that hasn't had a KO in God knows how many times. Like, he was just cracking the fuck out of Kelvin Gastelum in that fight. And that fight was originally scheduled for 170. I think Daniel Rodriguez weighed in at 170, and the next thing you know, they ended up just changing it to like 185 or some shit like that. So, and Joe Pyfer has a huge grappling edge in this spot. The one thing that we know about Kelvin Gastelum and who he had just fought his last fight was Sean Brady. Sean Brady ended up the fight before Daniel Rodriguez was Sean Brady, or the other way around or whatever. So, but Sean Brady just subbed him in the third round of a fight. So Joe Pyfer, who's probably more stronger, Brady probably more stronger in those grappling exchanges. But I think Pyfer has stronger takedowns. And if he gets this fight down to the ground, I think he subs him. So yeah, I'm definitely taking Pyfer in this spot.
Yeah, I was almost worried exactly for that reason to take Pyfer by knockout. Because, Cal, I was like, you know what? He could arm triangle him or something. What do you think about Pyfer in the spot?
Missing Weight with Kevin Gastelum is the name of his YouTube channel, okay? Or at least his show. And the reality is the guy's not serious, hasn't been serious for long. The version of him that fought Israel Adesanya, anybody who bets on him is holding on to that, and it's just not there anymore. Too many tacos, they're going to get knocked out of that gut at some point. The reality of the fact is this, the moment that Leon Edwards lost me money and Brady just punked him in the cage. I looked at the lines and I made a two-leg parlay. It's like -137 with Lupi Godinez and Joe Bodybags Pfeiffer. So Joe Pfeiffer, I think, not only dominates in this one. I'm going to look at the difference between the line and the inside the distance to the submission prop, because I think he's going to submit him in this fight. I think he's going to follow right along the lines with Brady from last week. But if the inside the distance and the difference in that line isn't that much of a difference, then I'm just going to take the inside the distance to be safe. But he's going to get him out of there. And I think that you're right on point. This is a violence parlay and a half. I love it.
I love it, man. I love it. Everyone liking Pfeiffer. And Dirty Reg in the comments, love to see it, man. He says it's easy to be high on Pfeiffer, but he hasn't beaten anyone of note, which is fair to say. But in my opinion, his loss to Jack Hermanson going 5 rounds and losing after coming on strong early was the best thing for his career development. I think he's going to grow from that loss. He's going to show that here against an aging veteran in Gastelum that might only be 33, 34 years old. But like we said about a guy like, Vince Morales, similarly, more like 45 in cage years, and the damage he's taken in every fight, Slick pointed out, doesn't move his head. Dangerous against a guy like Pfeiffer. So I think that difference will show. All right, man. Me and Jewish Better hitting it plus 2175 2 weeks ago. That's right. We got to run that back. But first, we got to salute. We got to bring up some main event talk. We got to go to the Slick Report.
Philly in the game, and we on time. Slick reports coming, ain't never gonna stop. MMA captains with the knowledge and the flow. From the East Coast, getting that paper like a Philly bankroll. Rocking every fight, keep the audience on hold.
And Slick, if you want to intro the main event of the evening as well, because your pick is in it, go for it, bro. Set us off.
Hey, man, it's time for the main event of the evening.
Nice.
Hey, so we're going to the main event in this spot. We're going with a prop that you can find on FanDuel. A lot of books offer it now as well, Bovada, a lot of like DraftKings, stuff like that. We're going with Brandon Moreno to win the fight either in rounds 4, 5, or decision. You get that at -105 right now on FanDuel. And this is just a show me spot. Steve Erceg has shown that he has good good striking, good grappling. But I just think Brandon Moreno has just found himself again. We seen that loss to Brandon Royval. Took a lot out of him. He wasn't really the Brandon Moreno of himself in that fight. And I think the one thing that we've seen about Brandon Moreno is that we've seen him get the championship, and then after he got the championship, we just never we've seen the Brandon Moreno, but we just haven't seen the Brandon Moreno that we've seen leading up to those first couple Davison Figueiredo fights, in those other couple fights, like that Kai Kara France fight that he ended up knocking out Kai Kara France. And I think that he just needed to find himself again. And now we've seen a more re-interview. He took a couple time off. I think he needed to find himself mentally. And we just seen a more revigorated Brandon Moreno. We've seen in that Amir Albazi fight to levels. We've seen him pumping the jab, we've seen Brandon Moreno. We've seen him going out with the striking. I just think Steve Erceg, he's one of those guys that I think he's he's UFC level, he's top level, but he just didn't get that ride that we wanted him to get going leading up to the championship in this division. We didn't see him fight the Brandon Royval. We didn't see him fight the Kai Kara Francis. We didn't see him fight the Manel Cops and stuff like that. We seen him get a title shot. I believe his fight that I think he won against Alexandra Acosta, I think he knocked out Matt Schnell. And Matt Schnell, we know, is a punching bag that that everybody hits. So I think this is a great win. A great, good bounce back spot. I think Brandon Moreno, honestly, in UFC Mexico, whenever they had UFC Mexico, it was 0-2. So he needs a win for the Mexican fans. I think he outstrikes Steve Erceg, who we've seen is not a punching bag, but he gets hit a lot as well. We've seen him get knocked out in that Kai Kara France fight, last fight. I just don't think that he's going to be able to, in elevation, I don't think he's going to be able to dictate a pace on Brandon Moreno that Brandon Moreno isn't going to dictate pack. And I took the 4-5 and decision just in case, because decision was plus 130. But in elevation in fourth and fifth round, we've seen the fourth and fifth round, Brandon Moreno gets better and better. In that fifth round against Albazi, landed close to 60 strikes in that fifth round. So I think this is just a spot that I think Brandon Moreno shows him that there's levels, and Steve Erceg just keeps going back down the ladder and having fun fights, but just going back down the ladder in this division. And I think Brandon Moreno gets his first win in Mexico.
Boom, Brandon, and dude, it's so funny you say that because he has had some duds in front of the hometown fans in Mexico or on UFC Fight Night Mexico, right in Vegas, and it's been a bit curious, right? The guy fights with a great spirit and all toughness, but sometimes just been a little bit overmatched by the Royvals, by championship caliber fighters that he's fought his entire career. But Cal, I'm with Slick, man. I think he's got the fire back within him. Just like Slick said, he's found himself mentally again. His boxing has improved a lot under Saif Saud. I really like that coaching for him. I really like that guy in his corner and how he's shaped him out. And I think that against Erceg, a guy that has good boxing himself, has high-level grappling, but like Slick said, maybe just got a little bit rushed. Although he was very competitive against Pantoja, and we'll look at that saying, man, he's right there, championship ready. He, like Slick said, he didn't go through a lot of different styles of fighters. He didn't really cut his teeth. So all of a sudden you match him up against some other guys. And yeah, I had him against KKF. I know Slick was on KKF, and boom, they were looking good. Some good exchanges, right? It was a close fight. Got starched by a really great power puncher for the division. What's the style of Moreno going to bring to him, right? A guy that can mix up his game, that can push the pace, has a great work rate. I think ultimately in Mexico, Moreno's going to be too much in this spot. And Erceg will give a good account of himself, but I like Slick's play. Maybe either late something crazy happens, or Erceg loses a hard-fought decision. Moreno stays busy or uses that championship experience. So I'm with Slick all the way. I like Brandon Moreno in this spot. Kat, how are you feeling about the fight?
Actually, I was trying to get Coach Saif right now into an interview, and so we actually talked this week. It's just because of with the obvious fight coming up, he was a little bit busy to be able to jump out for a lower level podcast compared to some of the bigger names that are calling him in. But either way, I went back and forth on this one. There's a reason why I have the glasses on. I'm going to go through some stats with you guys quickly, but the reality of the fact is Brandon Moreno. It's a level check, and what Slick said is exactly right on point. It's just quite literally, it's the quality of the strength of schedule. It's the quality of the opponents. And when we look at the vividness of Erceg striking, it's really good. But the knockout of Schnell is like, my daughter can throw a pretty solid hook. And if she ain't going to catch him, we all know Slick's son's going to come in and finish him off. So Schnell ain't shit. It's not really a good, marker for anything. But if you look at the stats, we have Brandon Moreno has him by 2 inches in reach. And if we're looking at the actual everything pretty much cancels itself out. Moreno's landing 4 a minute and absorbing 3.5 a minute. Erceg, he's landing 4.3 a minute and absorbing 4.2 a minute. They pretty much cancel each other out. In the takedowns and takedown defense, I don't need to get into the numbers on it. They cancel each other out. Everything comes down to a cancel out with everything they do except for the one thing. Brandon Moreno has been under the lights many more times, and you want to hope that he's learned from his lackluster performances. And the one thing I said on my podcast when I was talking with Billy, he's on the Erceg side of things, and I'm going to just go with Moreno and pray that he doesn't show up and not have one of those sort of in his head performances. Because when he's not in his head and he's on point, that dude will make most people look like clowns in there. The way he moves, his footwork, he's a matador in there. It's brilliant, and he's got the ground game too. So if he shows up, this isn't going to be close. I may touch this live. For me, the pick is Moreno. The bet will be live.
I like the breakdown there, guys. So Slick and Cal also loving Moreno. Of course, it's the Slick report. I love it too. But yeah, some good debate in the comments too. Jewish Better says a win over Albazi, and all of a sudden he's back. I don't buy it. Plus 195 Erceg for me. And I like Cal how you put it. He looked like a matador in there with the footwork. He was facing a bull and Albazi, a guy that was there to get hit. So Erceg, certainly a better boxer movement-wise. I think they'll have better striking exchanges than Albazi, but I agree with your guys' points. I think it's a done. Like, what do you think?
To say something about that Brandon Moreno loss with Royval. Royval landed close to 200 plus strikes in that fight, like through almost close to 500. Like that type of there's that type of pace that Brandon Royval puts on people in that third, fourth, and fifth round is nowhere near the type of pace that Steve Erceg puts on anybody. So Like I said, this is just one of those types of spots that Steve Erceg has looked good against Pantoja, but ultimately he lost, and that's the thing about everybody. Like when Brandon Moreno fought Pantoja, he looked good, but he lost, so it's just Pantoja is just one of those guys, like the motherfucker needs to get knocked out or something.
You know what is fun? Pantoja, he's a great champion. You got to put some respect on his name. He's going to go down as one of the greatest flyweight champions. All of a sudden, he does get into curiously close fights. It's just the way he fights. His striking style is very scrappy. He gets into these back and forth exchanges. He's happy to, take one to give one. So he does end up being in close fights. But yeah, he's so savvy. Nonetheless, Brandon Moreno using that experience from that fight to beat Steve Erceg in this spot. We all like the slick report. And we all like the main event of the evening in UFC Mexico. All right, guys. Mr. Plus isn't here. He called in, though. We still got the plus bus, but we had to fill in with the producer pick of the week. So, Cal,
Yeah, so this week I'm going to come in with what is ultimately a fade of myself. I dug into the numbers on this one, and I have faded Jamal Emmers for a very long time, and no more. Not especially in this fight. Gabriel Miranda is a guy who can't get out of the first round in most cases. His average fight time is a little over 3 minutes. Now, his most recent losses have come inside the second round. Now, if you look at all of his losses, it's absolutely crazy. So we're looking at rounds 1 or 2 is where I'm starting to lean here. But I want to look at Emmers and see really what his finishing capability is, because I think a lot of people have this vividness that he is more of a decision guy. And we want to look at it. I have stats here for his 8 KOs that he's had in the UFC or in his career. 5 of them have come in the first round, 3 of them in the second round. So out of all of his finishes, when he's getting his hands on guys, and a lot of his KOs, when you look at it, he lands an elbow where he lands a shot and then he follows up because he feels a confidence to it. The guy sort of falls back. So if you take the numbers out of it and look at Miranda, he does not wear punches well. He doesn't have good stand-up. It's absolutely not good at all. And I think Emmers is just going to have his way in this one. More on the stats. If we look at right now, the percentages, like I calculated out all the numbers as far as Miranda's losses inside the distance and Emmers finishes inside the distance. Right now, it's 30% that this fight ends in round 1. It's 40% that this fight ends in round 2. The rest is left for a decision or third round. So the reality of the fact is, I know I got to stop saying the reality of the fact, but the fact is Jamal Emmers round 1 and 2 is my goddamn prop. It's my producer play of the week. Fight doesn't go the distance is also potentially plus money and or at least some decent, I don't know where it is right now. That is also a play, time prop. And I will, just in case Miranda does pull off a crazy-ass submission in the first round, that's just not going to happen, though. I think Jamal Emmers round 1 and 2. Let's go, producer play of the week.
Let's go. He's on the board with it. And Slick, I like it, man, because I think he's onto it how this fight is going to play out. It's either Emmers just sparks him on the feet early. You see the discrepancy in their striking right away, and he catches him with a quick combination, a 1-2 down the middle, an elbow, a knee, a Muay Thai strike. Or some crazy shit happens. Fight doesn't go the distance. That's got to be lucky because the only way Miranda wins is by submission, right? So it's Emmers' knockout. It's Miranda's submission. I think it's an Emmers knockout early on, like Cal does. What do you think, Slick?
Yeah, I'm on the same. I think he knocks him out in the first. I honestly think we could see if Jamal Emmers starts working that body with that teep kick. I could see him getting the body hurt early, and the next thing you know, the 1-2 down the middle is going to be there too.
Ooh, I see that in my mind's eye now. A teep up the middle that just kind of digs in there, and he just reacts a little, and then Emmers sees it and just bang, 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 puts him away again. Maybe standing TKO against the fence. Ref's like, you're not doing anything. I like it, guys. Round 1 KO, round 2 KO, Emmers, and Cal is cashing the producer play of the week. All right, guys, we went through all of our segments. It's time to let him out the cage. It's time for the dogs of the week. And I see my guy God in the comments. What's good? Yo, that's awesome, man. Coming through from the Sportsline chat to the Darce pod. God, I put that on God. All right. Dogs of the week. Slick, You got the longest underdog of the week on the show. I'll let you kick it off. What you going with?
Yeah, we're going with Vince from Hell Pichel in this spot, plus 370. I just think that Rafa Garcia is just not warranted this line. Like, this is a guy going to close fights with Clay Guida and stuff like that. I'm just not too high on his strength of schedule as well. He's beating guys like Jesse Ronson, guys like Mahashate that I don't think is UFC caliber. Vince, well, what you know from Vince is that he's durable. He's a good defensive grappler. I just think this is a great spot for him to keep it on the feet, make Rafa Garcia tired. We know Rafa Garcia is not one of those. He's not one of those great cardio guys. We're in elevation in Mexico City, so I think this is a good spot for Vince Pichel. If he starts getting hotter as the fight goes on, like we see his volume start picking up in that second and third round, this fight is definitely gonna be way more closer than what these odds suggest. Rafa Garcia is nowhere near the type of guy to be a minus 500 favorite against anybody. Like, I really don't think so. Vince was like, Gabriel Bonfim was only minus 500, minus 600 against Vince Pichel his last fight. So somebody that's not as good as Ishmael Bonfim and Rafa Garcia, I think this is a great spot for Vince Pichel. Keep it on the feet, make it closer. Probably play the plus 3.5 too if you want to play a little bit smarter play. All he has to do is win one round. But I think this is a great spot for him. Volume, cardio, all going on the side of Vince Pichel money line. So give me him plus 370.
Boom. Wow. Vince from Hell Pichel. Jewish Better likes it in the comments too. I mean, I'll tell you this much. Like Slick said, ain't no way I'm touching Rafa Garcia minus 485. That's crazy. Cal, he's a scrappy Mexican wrestler, right? He could box a little bit, try to set up his takedowns, but he's there to get hit. Slick said it. I mean, he's been in some nasty fights with lesser competition. The line is crazy. Are you going to take the shot on Vince Pichel too?
This is actually a good lesson for everybody when you start looking at your lines right away. Initially, when I first looked at this line, for some reason I was looking at Rafa Garcia, and I was like, you know what, maybe the wrestling with the striking, and there was a reason in my head. And then I realized, even when Slick was talking there, why. The last person to fight was Vince Pichel. He fought in May. Rafa Garcia fought last October. So the vividness is Pichel sucks, and Rafa Garcia, you can't remember what he did. Both guys in their last performances look washed. They both look washed. For me, I can't, because the line's so wide, the only value is on the dog. Pichel's shown in the past that he can, fight through and be that dog in a fight and really, grind guys down. Rafa's shown that his cardio is shit. So if you're going to go on a side, you go on Pichel's side. But for me, both guys have burned me in the past, and they're both sort of at a wash phase. They both looked in their last fights like they were pretty much on their way out. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody retires in this fight. So for me, it would probably be Pichel. But the reality is, I got to stop fucking saying that. But what we're looking at is it's a value dog, plain and simple. The line's just too goddamn wide. And I just think it's a vividness that people remember Pichel sort of fading in his last fight. And that's why the line's so wide.
Recency bias. Yeah, that's your verbal crutch, Cal. The reality is we all have one. It's like, I used to say, every other second, Vince from Hell Pichel. Wow. Crazy one. Yeah. Garcia too wide of a dog. He is 42 years old. So if he comes through for you, man, he's really going to show that dog in him. All right, I'm going up next, guys. And Dirty Reg said it in the comments, so I'm rocking with it. I totally agree, my friend. Give us Drew Dober, killer be killed type of action. Now, he's taken on Manuel Torres, and I know it's dangerous because Drew Dober was recently clobbered by my boy Jean Silva, Lord Jean, the Fighting Nerds, Dr. Stoppage. Bro, Drew Dober, the granite chin, has taken a lot of cracks, man. I mean, it's been under a lot of damage as of late. And you got to wonder, is his signature durability still there? Will he be able to bring that to a fight with a guy like Manuel Loco Torres, who can bring those explosive elbows, those knees, those flying attacks, those rangy straight punches? It's going to be a dangerous prospect for Dober. But after watching him against Ignacio Bahamondes, who, credit to Baja, is a beast. By the way, that's why I call him. I just call him Baja. I think that's cool. He's a beast. But after he got hurt early with a counterpunch, I feel like I don't want to say he got exposed, but I saw just in his game no ability to recover or adapt or try to like change up anything. Instead, he just marched right into a brawl and tried to answer back, and he just got himself badly knocked out. So maybe I'm too down on Torres all of a sudden, but my feeling is that if he can't get Dober out of there early, and Dober's durability is there still, I know some ugly knockouts as of late or stoppages, but took 10 months off. If he's back, if it gets into the second or third, I think he's going to start to take over, and Torres is likely to fade away. So maybe he can wrestle a little bit. Maybe he can answer back with counter punches and hang with Torres until, weather the storm until he fades a little bit. And I'm backing that Dober can do that. So give me Drew Dober, guy that trains at elevation. Maybe he can push the pace on Torres and expose him for being a round one or bust KO artist. It's like, am I being too harsh on Torres for one loss, or is Dober live here?
Yeah, I think you're being a little bit too harsh in the case that Ignacio Bahamondes is way different type of striker than Drew Dober. Like Ignacio Bahamondes, that pullback right hand counter that he hit Torres with in that fight was just beautiful, man. And instead of like, at least Ignacio Bahamondes somewhat cares about his face. Drew Dober doesn't. He's just a mini guy that just goes left hook, right hook, left hook, right hook. And sometimes his left hook lands and ends up put people to sleep. And sometimes people has been cracking him. And now it has been looking a little bit susceptible to getting cracked, man. And I'm gonna go with Manuel Torres in this spot, because I think in the sense that he's gonna be able to dictate the inside, the distance. And we've seen him whenever he gets inside, man, he's just a menace. And I think his left, like the way he cracked Camacho. One thing that we know about Torres, man, he knows how to find the chin. And if he finds Drew Dober's chin early in this fight, I give it to you if this fight does end up going to the second and third round. Because the one thing that we know about Drew Dober, I'm not betting on Torres because I'm a little bit biased in the sense that I always been a Torres fan, even from in the regional scene, from what I've seen from this guy. But I just think that if he ends up hitting Dober with a clean elbow, like we've seen him hit against Nicholas Mota, or even a good right hand that we've seen him hit against Camacho, anything that hits clean, I think Drew Dober could get cracked. Outside of Drew Dober, maybe like I said, extending the fight, I think Torres could crack him. So like I said, I'm a little bit biased. I'm a huge Torres fan. I'm a lean Torres, but man, if you guys do not put this fight to not go the distance or under 2.5 rounds in any and all of your parlays, I don't know what you're doing, because this fight is going to be violent, and I mean violent from the moment it starts.
This is probably the banger of the night. Totally, man. This one ain't seeing the final bell. This one's going to be straight war cow. I mean, I'm thinking this is a banger. Dober, is he a live dog even at 36 coming off a rough loss, or does Torres bounce back after getting knocked out himself?
I mean, that's sort of a loaded question, isn't it? Drew Dober is always going to be a live dog. The man possesses dynamite in his hands, and it's always going to be there. But even as a dog, man, like initially when I saw this fight, I was like, as a fan, I'm excited. As a bettor, I'm like, nah, I'm staying off it. And then live on my podcast, Billy asked me, who do you think wins this one? And my gut check reaction was, I'm back with Slick saying, I think Manuel Torres could actually even get to the wrestling in this fight. He takes down Chris Duncan twice in the last fight. And I know you guys all faded him last week, but I backed him. I was like one of the only people in the world that did. And he is a lot more underrated than most people think. And he's progressed a lot more than most people think. He took him down pretty handily twice, submitted him. I think you're going to see some wrestling incorporated in this fight. I think he realizes, where he is as far as the level. At least that's how his coaches are going to approach it. We got to see what Torres does. It's a little bit of a level check, but I mean, look at what Dober's done in his last couple fights. He is not wearing damage well. His face gets cut open. He gets knocked the fuck out. Sure, it's Gene Silva, but, I'm not going to gauge his chin being knocked out by a monster like Gene Silva and then saying that maybe he won't have it happen again. It's probably going to happen again. I could see it. I think that you're going to see Manuel Torres mix in the wrestling. I think you could see him on top landing elbows and just fucking him up. Open that face up again. Open up the cut. For me, because the line's so tight, I'm going to go with Manuel Torres. I think Dober's just only a slight dog in this one. But, I like the potential wrestling, the better, cleaner striking, and the finishing ability of Torres. I think he has more points going for him in this one.
All right, so the fellas liking Manuel El Loco Torres to get back. I'm going Dober. I'm going veteran style. Jewish better riding with me in the comments. We'll see what should be an absolute banger. Who can come out on top? I think you guys are right. If it's an early damage, Torres is going to take over. Cal even likes him to grapple up Dober. But I think if Dober makes it long and lasts deep in this fight, maybe he can take over late. All right, should be a banger. Next up, guys, we got to get Plus's underdog, and we'll talk about it without him. It's one that I absolutely love. Maybe actually my favorite underdog. I might like this play even more than Drew Dober. Melquizael Costa, plus 130. Taking on Christian Rodriguez, C-Rod. And I like this because C-Rod is 12-2, Slick. And his 2 pro losses, Jonathan Pierce, 6 foot, guy that out-grappled him, out-physicaled him at featherweight. And Julian Erosa, 6 foot, guillotine choked him. It seems like C-Rod struggles with the tall, rangy, lanky guys. And after I backed Andre Fili in his last fight, and he got instantly guillotined, like, bro, was that either like the worst mistake of all time, or does Costa have an absolutely nasty and slick guillotine choke? Is it maybe a combo of the two? Because he submitted Andre Fili with ease. I feel like Rodriguez could be in trouble against Costa and the grappling, maybe at range with the kicks too. I think C-Rod probably better wrestler, better boxer, but he's just a little small for 145. I think he's meant to be a 135 or so. Slick, what do you think? You think Costa's a live dog here with his ranginess?
I mean, I think Christian Rodriguez does fit at 145 because the motherfucker missed weight every fucking time by like at like 135. So yeah, I think he deserves to be at 145. But yeah, man, I'm honestly, for the first time ever, man, I honestly think I'm gonna skip a fight. I just can't find a way to bet Christian Rodriguez in his spots, man. Like, I've been fading him, losing him. I've been betting him. I bet him against Rosa. I bet on Austin Bashi last fight. Like, Austin Bashi, he had that fight, man, but I just can't find the way Christian Rodriguez loses. Like, it's either like he gets front choked by Julian Rosa in the first 30 seconds. Outside of that, he gets himself in so many precarious situations, like against Raul Rosas Jr., like against Isaac Dulgarian in that first round. And I just don't know what this guy is good at. Like, outside of him moving forward and just throwing a nice 1-2, like, he has good, like, he gets people tired and he's able to take advantage of it. That's what makes him look a little bit more stronger. I just can't get a hold of this guy, man. And Costa, I think he's a little bit overvalued. I mean, undervalued in this fight, in the sense that I think a lot of people are just gonna look at that Andre Fili fight and not look at the Shyalan Nerden Beckham fight where he got laid on his back for damn near the whole fight, and even even in that Steve Garcia fight where he took immense of damage. I just can't bet him either. He's actually a striker first, you know, a karate style type of striker with his kicks. And he really doesn't shoot any takedowns. You know, he takes the opportunities. So maybe he gets Christian Rodriguez in the guillotine. But I just can't find a way to bet this fight. Probably take the fight to no distance and hope somebody ends up tapping or somebody ends up knocking each other out. So my pick will be Christian Rodriguez, but I'm not betting either side.
He has been a weird, kind of tricky fighter to read, Cal, but I agree with Slick that is an odd matchup to pick from. He's good everywhere. That's the thing about C-Rod, but this is why I'm liking Costa, Cal. C-Rod's wins have all been against like fellow prospects. It's Cameron Simon. It's the Dulgarian split that I don't know if he deserved. A lot of people felt that Dulgarian won that fight, right? It's Rosas, who had a good first round against him, and then he just kind of out-physical, weight-bullied Rosas. He's turned away a lot of good young prospects. Costa's 22-7. This guy's been around the block, and I think that he will wrestle him, Slick. I think that he'll give him the situations that maybe put, like you said, Rodriguez in those precarious positions. So because of that, I think he's live in this fight. Cal, how do you feel about Costa?
Yeah, I mean, you asked me for a dog of the week, and I really couldn't find my way to one unless it's like a value dog situation, right? But like a solid actual dog of the week, it was hard. But looking at this fight, I just think that these guys are so close. I think that The reach is the same, although the size is a little bit different. We got Rodriguez, who's a little bit smaller, but as far as the numbers, their striking differential is the same. If you're looking at the takedowns, we're going to have Costa, who's going to be a little bit more aggressive. But I've been on a Costa ticket in the past, and he hasn't. I've been yelling takedown, and he's not going for the takedowns the way he should, when he should. But for me, once again, it's just these guys are just too close. And if I'm going to have a fight that's so close, I'm just going to take the dog money. And I'm sort of hoping that more money comes in on Rodriguez, because I'll hit Costa at bigger plus money, and then I'll wait for this fight to go live. If Costa has a good first round, maybe I'll hit Rodriguez and get him both sides of the ticket. But I like Costa in this one. I just think the plus money's there.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I think the plus money is there for him. It's going to be a good fight. It's a tough one. I think that Slick is right, that it's a tricky one. Dirty Rag in the comments, he said C-Rod has beaten a lot of inexperienced guys, but Jewish Better says that C-Rod's the real deal, and he thinks that personally that wrestling is going to work for him here. So yeah, that bozo moment against Erosa. We'll see if he has learned from it, Jewish Better. We will see. All right. Next up, it's time to come together. Let's lace them up, fellas, and let's put together a Darce parlay. All right, we got plus 155 this week. Slick, you got the first leg. Go for it. Oh, you're muted, my friend.
Yeah, we already talked about this fight. We're going with Jamal Emmers, money line in the spot. I think he KOs Gabriel Miranda in the first or second round.
Bada boom, bada bing. Mr. Plus's pick for this one was Edgar Chairez. He said it's his most confident leg of the parlay bus. If he comes out with the ammo strap over, it's wraps. That's all you need to know. So Edgar Chairez, second leg. And my leg going to wrap it up. Brandon the Assassin Baby Moreno in the main event. Also, nice thing about parlaying the last leg of your parlay in the main event, you can hedge on the underdog if it comes down to it. So we'll probably do that if we hit the first two legs. I like Moreno to show that championship experience against Urseg. Slick's on Moreno in the Slick report. Cal likes it a lot too. And your Darce parlay with those three legs. Emmers, Chairez, Moreno, plus 155. Easy work there. All right, guys, just a few fights left to talk about. Let's cover the ones we didn't yet on the honorable mentions. And I see my guy Uda Burger in the comments. He says Piper Def has to be a leg of the parlay. It was a leg of one of my parlays. It's a leg that a lot of the guys like. So we didn't use it in the Darce, but we did use it on other things. A fight that we didn't talk about, though, let's kick it off with the first one of the card. It's Markel Medeiros, minus 198, taking on Austin Hubbard, plus 165. Personally, I like Medeiros, Slick. I think he'll be quicker to the target, just more athletic, faster, Muay Thai, Factory X Muay Thai guy. And Hubbard, scrappy, veteran, kind of journeyman guy. Maybe he tries to take him down. Maybe he makes it annoying a little. But ultimately, I think Medeiros will just be a little quicker and faster and outpoint him. What do you think?
Yeah, this is just a spot I'm gonna have to lean Medeiros. Austin Hubbard, what I've seen from him, man, I honestly don't think he's UFC caliber. He's just tough as fuck. And like he's able to take advantage of other guys when they're gassed out. Able to take advantage with his grappling and takedowns, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that with Medeiros. I think Medeiros actually has moved gyms to, I think either he moved from Factory X to MMA Lab or from MMA Lab to Factory X for his last two fights. So I think this is a great spot for him against a guy that's like he's going to be able to showcase his striking against Austin Hubbard, who's a walking punching bag. So yeah, I'm gonna lean Medeiros in this spot. Yeah,
Cal, the only way that I found it was hoping to bet this fight is that Hubbard's toughness could carry Medeiros to win by decision. Do you think he knocks him out, or do you think Medeiros wins by decision? How do you see it?
I mean, I think it might be late. This might be a third-round decision, depending on the value on the line. But I'm with you guys on Medeiros. I think one of the biggest key things that Slick brought up is, Hubbard's key to victory. He's going to have to get some kind of takedowns going and mix it up. If he doesn't, he's going to get tagged up on the feet. I think that both guys throw it around the same amount of volume and get tagged up similar, but Hubbard a little bit more. But it's the quality of striking from Medeiros that's there. I just think he's going to land bigger, better shots, and likely go to decision. But, I mean, third-round decision might be something to look at. But for me, this is likely a stay off. I know a lot of people are showing love to Hubbard, but I just think people are they're dog searching. They're trying to find their dog, and they're ending up on Hubbard.
I think a lot of people are just blindly seeing like, oh, he's a Colorado guy, elevation. They're fighting at elevation. Bet the elevation. Definitely it will play a factor in a lot of fights, but if you just blindly bet like he's from here, there's sea level difference, you're not going to do well, I think. I don't know if that's like a blind strategy that will work.
No, man. Like you could play that into your capping or looking at it. If you've seen a guy gas before and he also doesn't train at elevation, and then there's another guy, like it's got to make sense. You don't just he doesn't fight at elevation, so he loses, because it's not going to be that case. You're going to see like a handful of guys that might gas a little bit on this card. Not everybody's going to, and some people that you expect to won't.
I like that. Exactly. Scott says Hubbard's about to lose his contract. Dylan says, I'm taking a shot on Medina. I don't trust some of these Contender Series guys. Whoa, one of the biggest dogs of the card. Well, the next fight we haven't talked about is Ateba Gaultier, minus 440, taking on Jose Medina, plus 340. And Gaultier, physical specimen, coming out of Cameroon, muscular dude, powerful striker, but has a lot of work to do on his grappling defense. And if he can keep you on the feet, you're in trouble probably. But if you can put him on his back, he's still got some work to do. So minus 440, I'm not willing to lay it, but Slick, I think he probably starches his opponent. This guy looks strong. I think might be highlight reel material coming for him. What do you think of Gaultier?
Yeah, I'm gonna bet this fight no distance whenever the line comes out, whatever. But I could honestly see this fight going legit just like this, right? I could see Gaultier landing probably close to like 20 clean punches on Daniel Medina in the second round. Then, in the first round, and then next thing you know, he ends up overstriking on one punch, and then he falls on his back, and then Medina wears on him. And the next thing you know, that second round, you see Gaultier come out the stool, and then you're looking at that minus 450 price tag, but then Jose Medina still getting punched in his face in that second round, and you're like, oh my God, Jose Medina looks good, and it's just gonna be back and forth. I could legit see this shit happening just like this fight. My pick is Gaultier, because I think even if this fight does go to decision, I think Gaultier at least lands the more damaging shots. But, man, I could see Jose Medina looking like if he gets Gaultier tired, because we've seen Zachary Reese land flush punches on fucking Jose Medina. So I'm a lean Gaultier, but, man, I could see that. I could see Daniel Medina winning like a Austin Lane decision, like just laying on him, not doing nothing, and just beating on Gaultier on the ground or something.
Yeah, Cal, Gaultier is only 6-1. I think he wins the fight, but Medina does have a big experience advantage and grappling advantage. So will Gaultier just put him away and show him that he's a prospect on the rise, or can he get exposed for his inexperience early?
I have one name for you, Despain. We'll leave it there. When you have lower level guys coming in and their only win condition is volatility, and then the line's extremely wide, I'm staying off. Slick had me going through all the emotions. I visualized him going through it, landing a shot, and then following up on the cage and landing big shots and closing it out, or falling on his back and then losing. I can't touch it. This one was a stay off for me. I'll be honest though, I didn't dig into it too hard anyways. I only watched a little bit on this one. So don't take my word for anything except for the fact that this is lower level. And if you're really digging into any of this as far as putting your money, you probably should stay off.
Dude, I feel like I want to take him by knockout, but now I'm all of a sudden worried. I really am. These guys, man, you got to see them.
You don't have to, man. Wait, get it for free and wait till next time.
Yeah, man. Oh my God, I'm just picturing like all those parlays with the minus 450, sweating when he's on his back. All it'll take is one big shot, though, and he's got some good short uppercuts. Another fight that sort of had me scratching my head that I haven't made a pick in, I'm really curious to hear your guys' take. It is Kevin Borjas taking on Lazy Boy, Ronaldo Rodriguez. And honestly, I wanted to fade Rodriguez after his last fight, getting absolutely starched by Ode Osborne, being basically unconscious, and somehow coming back in the fight and winning the next 2 rounds with his wrestling. He's scrappy. He's durable. He's Mexican. He's got the spirit right. But it's kind of like got that that T-Rex boxing, right? Those short arms, and he could get cracked, man. He leaves his chin up in the air. But I just feel like his toughness and his grappling might be the difference. Slick, do you think I should take a shot on Borjas as a dog? He's got some cracking power in his boxing. Does he have a chance to stay off his back and maybe outstrike Rodriguez?
No, I mean, I wouldn't sell you that, but what I could sell you is Ronaldo Rodriguez by sub at plus 450. I think that's a good spot. I think we seen in that Osborne fight, whenever he did get cracked, he resulted to his grappling. I think Kevin Borjas, he has a good initial takedown defense, but I think just the relentlessness that we've seen Rodriguez to get the takedown is just gonna give him an opportunity to get the rear naked choke. So at plus 450, I'm gonna just bet this fight. I mean, I'm gonna just bet that for this fight and keep it because the under 2.5, I was looking at the fight no distance, is like minus 105. I don't really want to have a greasy. This fight could be a greasy ass decision type of fight. So if it does end up being like that, I'd rather lose a plus 450 tag than a plus 105 tag. You know, I feel way better if Ronaldo Rodriguez doesn't shoot no takedowns. Then I'll probably feel like a little doofus, but that's a part of his game. So I'm gonna go Ronaldo Rodriguez by sub at plus 450.
Yeah, Cal, ultimately, I didn't get to the bet on Borjas just because of that relentlessness. Like, if it's not going his way, like, you're right. He will shoot the takedowns. He will scrap it out. He'll do whatever he needs. Cal, what do you think Rodriguez is the play?
Yeah, he is, man. On my show, Billy Briz of Pub Sports Radio, this is one of his picks. And whenever he comes with his picks, he sends them to me ahead of time. And I dug into the numbers on this one, man, and everything is pointing towards what Slick was saying. Although, Borjas is typically a submission guy, only been submitted once. The reality of the fact, there you go, Jewish Better. Rodriguez, it's just really, he's the finisher, right? So he's got 7 wins by KO, 5 wins by submission. And you're looking at Borjas, who might stretch this over. But a lot of people are looking at the fact that he's this Peruvian. And I hear cappers talk about this. I said this to you guys privately in the chat. 90% of Peruvian fighters train out of Lima. Lima is at 168 meters above sea level. That has nothing to do with mountain cardio. They don't have naturally ingrained mountain cardio. They're just gritty. And the only thing I think that Borjas is going to have an issue with, his takedown defense is about 60%. He's going to get taken down in this fight. I think on the feet, he's going to have his moments. But for the most part, I think that you're going to see Rodriguez get to at least 2 to 3 takedowns. On that last takedown, he's just going to get that submission, man. So I'm going to look at the submission prop. I actually didn't see what the value was on it, but what I guided Billy towards was submission decision. I don't think that Rodriguez, although he has knockouts, is going to knock out the hard Peruvian head of Borjas. And I think that if he wins, it's a late submission and or decision. So digging into the numbers, man, there's a lot more. And actually, because it's something that you were looking at, I'll send you the numbers off. But everything tells me that this is going to be a Rodriguez fight.
All right.
The line's so tight, I'm into it.
You guys
actually
moving me towards Rodriguez now. All right. And Marco Pacheco in the comments, he says, let's go lazy boy. Like in the submission. Maybe I'll tail that. Maybe I'm on the other side now. I like the points you guys made. Last fight we got to cover, and then we'll get the heck up out of here because it's late. David Martinez taking on Simon Oliveira. This guy Martinez, Mexican prospect that looks to be the real deal, man. He's explosive. Oliveira, not sure he's quite UFC caliber. This might be cannon fodder, as we say, highlight material. I think Martinez can get the knockout. Slick, do you like Martinez?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like Martinez in this spot. I faded Simon Oliveira. I remember I had Marcos as a max play, as an underdog against him in his debut. I never believed in Simon Oliveira. I understand he has all these submissions, but I really think he's just nowadays in this UFC, like in this year and this new generation, people are just beating these BJJ guys, Like I'm tired of betting guys like outside of Carlos Vera last fight when he got that plus 600 win against. But even that, that was a more like green type of guy, like it wasn't really that new. It was new to MMA. I think David Martinez is a little bit new to MMA, but he's training with he has good training partners. I think he finishes Simon Oliveira. I think he finishes him late though, because David Martinez is more of a pick you apart type of guy, stick to the outside, keep the distance with his kicks. So maybe Simon Oliveira walks into something, but I could just see Simon Oliveira like getting body kicked and then him just going to his fucking butt and putting up some type of guard or something, and then the ref just keep getting him up until the ref just tired of seeing him. Late third round KO for David Martinez.
Not the guard pull. No. Cal, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, Simon Oliveira made me a lot of money against Daniel Marcos when Marcos came into the UFC in his debut. Marcos just a really slick striker, and Oliveira, though he does have some power in his hands, he can put together sloppy strikes and maybe get something out of it. The reality of the fact is his striking is just not there. Yeah, 8 count. But when you look at him down the middle, you're going to see Martinez likely land the beautiful boxing that he does have and land the better strikes. But once again, the line's too wide. I mean, the market even sees it too. They've started to come back the other way a little bit. Whoever's putting money on Oliveira, I don't know. But it was like over, like, I think it was minus 420-ish. I could be wrong. Someone could correct me, but it's just too wide, man. Because at the end of the day, this could end up being a banana peel situation, right? We don't know. He's been away for 2 years. I can't see him making improvements in his style. You can see some guys that would make improvements, young guys like Rose Haas Jr., who's going to get better in his striking as he gets better. But Oliveira, he's not the side in this one. Martinez is. But the line out of principle is way too wide, and I'm just not paying for it. I'll just watch it, maybe bet live. Maybe I get it down a little bit lower, parlay him live. I don't know. We'll see.
That's why I like the KO prop. 8 years younger, and Oliveira's been away for 2 years. Might get starched. All right, guys, we did the damn thing. We're going late here. But shout out to everyone in the comments. Appreciate every single person that watched. Hit the like button on the show on your way out. Thanks for being here live. We did everything. The Brasco breakdown, the plus bus called into the show, the slick report, the producer play, the Darce parlay. If you missed anything, go back and watch it in the show, and hopefully you're cashing anything you tail. UFC Mexico. Viva la Mexico. Enjoy the card, guys. And we will see you next week. Cal, we got plans to go live soon, maybe for 314.
Yes, I wanted to get some feedback for that, and then also obviously do my little shameless plug at the end. But we're considering doing a live show for 314. Plus, being in Miami, we want to make it a big show. So let me know what you guys think. If we can make it fruitful and get enough people in the live, it's just going to be loose. We'll be rotating in and out of the studio and talking back and forth, breaking down the fights as they go live. Maybe even put up some live bets and have you guys jump in for that too. But yeah, man, it's going to be fun. And I just wanted to say quickly, I'm really digging back in with my podcast again. So tune into the Don't Tap podcast. Come check me out over the Don't Tap podcast YouTube channel. I've had the Jewish Better on. I've had some UFC fighters on, break down fights. Mike Harrington from Believe You Me podcast. I even had Jason Anik on my podcast. So come on over, get some different insights. It's a little bit of a different show. These guys break down everything and go in detail. We bring our 3 best plays, and that's sort of how we do it. But check out the Don't Tap podcast. Thanks again, guys, for the time.
There you go. Sister show, family show, the Darce podcast, the Don't Tap podcast. Go check them all out and get your MMA knowledge up. Great to be here with all you guys. Cal, thanks so much for stepping in. Slick, thank you for going late with us. And I'm your boy Brasco Betts here every week, breaking down UFC fight nights. We'll see you for the next one, guys. UFC 314. Viva la Mexico. Peace.